Ndinoda kuti nyika isiwe vanhu vangu inguva yedu hatingatadzi kubudirira Mwari ari parutivi pedu rambai muchirwa My hitters don't die, the real hitters gon' shine and my people gon' line Cause we're born to win it I ain't saying
How the hell do I not have the deal? I swear this thing is a real dog. I play it fan off, the cowards that they can't feel. The wife try to console me like it's coming, baby, chill. She don't understand. I'm the only one that's real. I remember the 3rd grade. Them kids, they had waves. I had them BDBs. You know that Zimbabwean bread. So they do shades and your boy hit the stage. Press play and all the chicks was like, yeah. While boys was moving bricks, I was moving chips. Yeah. If she gave me calculus, gave her a mouthful of it. Heat rose to this thing, boy, I bet on myself.
Grand Rising, everybody. Happy Friday to you. We got a fantastic Friday show for y'all today. I'm really excited because it's been a long time coming. I get to sit down with my guy, Eugene Moore, CEO of Rain City Electric. He's going to be telling us all about his journey as an electrician, how he's built up his business and stayed connected to community. So I'm so glad that he has made time in his schedule to be with us today. Of course, though, y'all, it's the top of the show. So it's a great time to tag and share the stream. That's right. You get to participate by tagging and sharing the stream and sharing it with folks you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on The Day with Trae. If you can't watch us, don't worry, we got you covered. You can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. Y'all will find me on Google, Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Music, SoundCloud, whatever one is your favorite. Y'all will find us there. Just search for us. I think 200 plus platforms. We appreciate you tagging and sharing the stream and sharing the podcast. This is how we spread the word here. So we thank y'all so much for participating in that work. Well, you know, before I get to Eugene, it's really exciting because here at Converge, we have so many amazing, talented individuals who are doing great things on the ground. And of course, my good sis, Besa Gordon, is keeping it lit with her media mixers. Check this out from the last one this month.
Hey, what's going down? It's your boy Cuddy, and we're here live at the Museum of Pop Culture at the real Seattle Media Mixer, hosted by my good sis, iHeart's very own Besa Gordon. We got DJ Yaddy on the ones and twos. We got a full celebrity jam-packed panelist coming up. Man, plenty of exclusives, plenty of celebrities. If you're not here, you're wrong. Make sure to get down here and join me, your boy Cuddy, and my girl Besa. It's going down.
Big shout out to Besa. The Converge team is here. You know, Dream Team always got to make dreams come true.
Practice your pitch with anything. It's like practice what you're doing so that you can speak to it, speak confidently.
Before I started doing anything with art, the last job I think I had, I was selling cars. And that's the first thing they teach you on a car lot. If anybody's ever worked on a car lot, they teach you know your product. If you know your product well, it's gonna come out of you, right?
It's very emotional. I haven't cried today till now, so I'm very proud of myself. But it's one of those things where I'm happy that I was able to do this for my city on MLK Day. Bring Black people together and give us information, marketing, networking, branding, the things that we have to pay so much money for, the things where you see people that look like you and they're doing a great job and you're like, how'd they do that? They're right here, ask them.
A lot of us get caught up in the algorithm and all that type of stuff. Don't pay attention to none of that. Like, just post your shit.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
At this point, just post your shit. You know what I mean? People that's supposed to see it gonna see it. If you don't like it, that's fine. But like I said, you just want to get it out there.
It's amazing. Yeah. I was like, you guys know that the Mopop? Like, that's real for real. Like,
yeah. I'm trying to start a podcast, so I'm looking for people I can collaborate with and network with to get everything started.
I'm a model who was based out in Los Angeles who needs to start her base out here. So just networking, getting my name out there and getting people to come and network with me.
Same, I'm also interested in starting a little larger growth on my Instagram and meet some new people.
your brand story? What inspires you? What sets you apart?
I think connections, inspirations, whenever you're able to be around people that are in the field you are, it's always good to compare notes and check in and just be inspired again, because it gets difficult. So I always come out of these types of events inspired.
Just connecting with the BIPOC community within Seattle, because at the end of the day, I know we are limited. So let's come together as a community, BIPOC community, come as one.
As you can see, my good sis Besa here is trying to do a monumental thing. She's breaking barriers. She's opening the door for people that look just like us and making it at an affordable rate. You can't beat free. So when it comes time to it, when you're looking for these opportunities and wow, we're the black people, why is there no opportunities for Seattle? No, tap in with Besa, the real Seattle media mixer. You feel me? These are the type of things that you're supposed to tap in with. It's here for you. What can we expect the next time? How do you top this?
We'll be back here in June for a very special day. I'll say that much.
All right. Hey, and you heard it here. It's your boy Cuddy, my good sis Besa, and we're signing out. Peace.
The Real Seattle Media Mixer.
The Real Seattle Media Mixer.
The Real Seattle. That's right, y'all. The Real Seattle Media Mixer. Shout out to Besa Gordon, my good director over here, Curtis Cuddy Delgado. The whole team of Converge was in the building to not just be there and enjoy, what the panelists were talking about, but also to really support Besa. It was so huge to be at Mopop. Congratulations, hon. This is amazing that you keep on putting these events on and really bringing information to the people. It's so necessary, and it's such a great space for a lot of folks from the global majority to participate in learning about how to market themselves properly, how to build their audience up, how to share what they're doing. And for me here on The Day with Trae, I'm always about how we share our stories and how we come together and connect. And you really have curated such an amazing space where folks are looking forward to the next one. So make sure y'all are following us on Converge Media, WW Converge on Instagram. Follow me at Trae Holiday. Follow Besa at Besa Gordon. Make sure y'all are tapping in with what we are offering, because I'm telling you, if you are looking to get engaged and involved with that audience, Converge is the place to be. And it's because we're going to keep on giving y'all opportunities to be connected, stay connected to these stories, and be engaged and involved. Well, I get to talk with my guy, Eugene Moore, after this short break. Of course, when I talk about inspiring stories, he has one to share about his journey as an electrician and how he's built up Rain City Electric. So stay tuned after this short break, y'all. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Prosperity in Black America. What will this require? Is Black business prospering? Are we reaching women and minority-owned businesses? How do we achieve earning parity for wealth for our families? Do our children really have access to education? Will our families have choices for our children? Prison pipelines, mass incarceration, tearing our families apart. A healthcare system not accessible to the masses. The disproportionate termination of Black women from corporate America. When will we actually begin to address what's really at play? How do Black people gain more power to help make these changes? This requires a lot of political will and courage. I'm that provocateur of change. I am Cindy Bright. Welcome to Heartbeat.
Will you marry me, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put this on you.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Trae Holiday. We're bringing back Black Love When We Met. That's right. We need something to warm all of our hearts and to elevate love once again in our communities. We want y'all to go to whereweconverge.com/Black Love so y'all can nominate your favorite couple for the next rendition of this show with me as the host. Let me sit down and have them on my couch and share how their love can inspire us all. Make sure y'all go and get your nominations in today and be on the lookout for Black Love When We Met coming at you on Converge Media very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to The Day with Trae. I got to put another plug in for Ain't Too Proud. I'm telling you, if you haven't gotten your tickets already, make sure you go to stgpresents.org. Get your tickets to Ain't Too Proud, the story of the Temptations. You will not be disappointed. It was such a whole vibe. And you have until February 5th, y'all, to go see this show. So I had to make that plug. Of course, I'm excited, though, because it's been a long time coming. Welcome, Eugene. Welcome to the Black Media Matter Studios in my living room set.
Thank you.
Hey.
Proud to be here.
Yeah, well, you know, your story really starts as somebody who grew up in the CD, of a lot of ties to so many people here. Tell us a bit about the beginnings of you saying, you know, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to make a shift here and actually go get my skills. And what made you choose electrician?
Well, I was about 19 years old at the time, and I had primarily was just spending my time hanging out on the block, you know, on the streets, and you know, decided at one point that you know, I didn't want to live like that, you know, that I was destined for something better. And it's funny because I actually had always wanted to be a dentist, you know, and but some of the choices that I had made at the time made me feel that I couldn't go that direction. So, you know, I thought, you know, why not, you know, join a trade? And so me and a friend used to hang out at Seattle Vocational Institute, and we used to just, you know, talk to girls and stuff like that, and just hang out on the steps, you know. And one day we would just do that every day. And one day, a guy named Bob Markholt, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not, but really cool guy, started a program, a pre-apprenticeship program. And, you know, and he offered us, you know, a position in the class, you know, as a way that we could still talk to the girls, you know, but also learn some skills. So we ended up doing that, me and a friend. And from that point, I was just kind of off to the races. They had the Welch Plaza on Jackson that was torn down, and they were building some apartments. So they pulled us out of the class, and I kind of just took off from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know, I've talked to several other guests here about the importance of the trades, really getting our young folks to understand it's such an amazing lifestyle that you can create for yourself. And you really have become an example of that. As you got into the business, tell us a bit about the journey, because we know that there are certain steps you have to go through, right? Certain hours in terms of being on the job before you opened up Rain City Electric. Just tell us a bit about your journey as an electrician on your own.
Well, what's funny is, so when that job that we had started at Welch was actually contracted by a contractor outside of the CD, or like the city limits. So because they were bidding the work in a urban neighborhood, they had to hire a certain amount of minorities. So what was crazy is that they pulled a few students out of the class, and I started on that job. The crazy part is, they put me in school. They had to put me in school, but essentially they didn't really have to teach me anything on the job. So the first 2 years I spent just sweeping a broom, you know, and while they were bringing in other guys, teaching them, training them how to run wires. And because I lived in the neighborhood, sometimes I would hop over the fence at night and just like follow the wires to see how, you know, the other guys during the day were doing things. But for 2 years, I didn't touch a wire at all. And so once that contract was filled by the company, I was laid off. And then around that time, there was no Google or, Yahoo or anything like that to go search for jobs. And, back then it was like the newspaper. So I found a job with a company out in Everett. But by that time, I was a second-year apprentice, and I was in a 4-year program. Once the job was over, they didn't have to pay for school anymore. So I didn't go to school after that. I took 2 years of school. I excelled in that. But when I got to the second company, I didn't really know too much of anything because I had been pushing a broom the whole time. So I got to this company, and I remember a funny story where I went to a job. I was always really good at selling myself and talking and stuff like that. So I got the position, and during that time, you got paid based on the tier you were at, or the year you were in as far as your apprenticeship. And so I was a second-year apprentice at the time, and I was supposed to be making a certain amount of money, or based on my expected level of skill, right? So when I got to this company, I really didn't know how to do anything, but I sold myself like I could. They sent me to a job, and I remember stripping a piece of wire with like some pliers or something crazy like that. And then one of the journeymen had seen that and was like, no, that's not how it's done. They sent me back to the office. I talked to him. It's like, yo, they didn't teach me anything, So I took a pay cut, and then from there on out for the next 2 years, I just learned how to wire houses and stuff like that. And I was always underpaid though. I was always just, I didn't really feel like I was appreciated a lot. But I knew I had a vision. I didn't want to work for a company for the rest of my life. I knew I just wanted to learn the skill, figure out the business part, and then go from there.
Wow. Well, so you always had this vision then. And honestly, a lot of folks that I've talked to always talk about, you get your bearings, throughout the journey before you become a journeyman or whatever the steps are, right? I'm always thinking journeyman, but there's probably other steps there. But before you get to a certain place where like you kind of max out basically, right? In terms of pay, learn the skills, go on these jobs and learn the skills. But the great thing about the trades is you can always take that skill and create a business out of it. So tell us about the beginnings of Rain City Electric. What had you land on the name? It's a great name, right, for this area. But tell us a bit about the beginnings when you finally got to that point of, all right, I've learned enough in this environment. Now I can take it to another level and become my own business.
Well, the company, when I first started my company, the name was Revolt Electric. And I named it Revolt Electric because for the time I had spent learning all the skills that I learned, because I jumped from job to job intentionally so I can learn a full spectrum of the trade, so I did outdoor stuff, indoor stuff, smart homes, all types of things like that. But during this process, I went, there was a particular way I was treated, and, I don't like throwing the race card in it, but I think it had a lot to do with some things, as far as, my pay scale, how I was treated on the job site, stuff like that. And I just kind of had this, not necessarily a rebellious attitude toward it, but, I wanted to stand for something, so Revolt was kind of like a double entendre. A volt is a measurement of electricity, and, revolt was something that revolt, I wasn't necessarily revolting, but I was just kind of like pushing the line for what I believed in, so Revolt Electric was the name, and we did very well. And it was like my second or third year officially in business, and then the BLM thing hit, the stuff with George Floyd, and that name started to cause me problems. It started to cause me problems. Customers started to ask me about the origination of the name, and I started to see, just because of the climate of the country, that with that name and then me having that black face, I started to get a little blowback from that. So I changed the name. It was a business decision to change the name, and I chose Rain, because it was a strong, powerful name, and it just stuck from there.
Well, there you have it. I mean, that's a great story. And you're so right in terms of, I could see how that may cause some customers to go, wait a minute, what are you revolting against?
It did, because I would find myself at jobs and customers would honestly ask me, like, what's up with the name, And there were some jobs that that got, that I didn't win because of the name, So
Wow.
that was important.
Well, I mean, it goes back to, I think, in terms of you actually identifying your customer base, knowing what you need to do in order to take on more jobs. But this is also, an industry where you're oftentimes bidding for work. Tell us a bit about that process, because as you talk about, building it up in the first few years and, doing really well, what does that look like on the back end for you?
Well, there's a few parts to bidding. It's not about just giving the right numbers. I think you have to give, or what I've learned is that you have to give the customer an experience. There's a level of respect that you have to bring to the customer. And for some reason, I've always just been really personable. And so I think, I've learned that the numbers really don't dictate whether you get a job or not, whether they're high or they're too low or whatever. I think it's a feeling that customers get when they meet you. So, I do a lot of like on the ground work, I'm the first point of contact for the customers. It's like a lot of other companies, when you call their number, you'll get like a receptionist or something like that. And I model my company a little different, where when the calls come in, they're getting the owner, you know what I mean? And then they get dispatched from there, so from the phone call to the time when I walk in the business or the house, they're getting what I represent, and then my employees are just an extension of me, you know what I mean? But I bring it to the table first. And so the bidding really, like I said, really isn't the numbers. It's just, I try to provide an experience to the customers, that I treat them like I would my brother or sister, and they trust me, and I think that's a big thing,
Yeah, that says speaks volumes. I mean, I know when I moved into my condo and I had some issues, you were the first one I called, because I'm like, look, I know I already trust him. I know him, like he's gonna send some professionals out. And so I'm a customer, y'all. So it's not just that he has an amazing story. I can also vouch for this level of service that you're speaking about. But also, too, there's something to be said about the team you build. I mean, if you're building up a business and it starts with you, kind of, solo electrician, how have you been intentional to build a team that also understands the level of service that you are providing for all of your clients and customers?
I think finding the right people have a lot to do with passion. Like you got to have people who are not who don't, because you make really good money doing this, whether you're doing what I'm doing or you're actually out in the field. Some of the guys that we pay make $60 an hour right now, which is really good money. So just trying to find guys that aren't worried about a paycheck, that care about the business just as much as I do, that pay attention to the small details. They don't, waste material, stuff like that. Guys that are presentable, respectful, and you just get an energy when you're around a good person, so I try to find those type of people. I didn't really, there was a time where I was like profit driven, where I didn't care who I hired. It was just like, if you have a license and you can do the work, you're hired, but I started to get feedback from customers, about, like everything was good at first, and then this guy came and he was just a scumbag, and so reviews are important as well, and so that's like your reputation, that's what stamps you out here, and to prevent the bad ones and to prevent the bad experiences, I just had to pick the right guys, and these guys, the guys that I have right now are just as loyal, just as passionate, just as driven as I am, and they're really loyal, you know?
Yeah. That says a lot too, because you're absolutely right. I think there's also this layer of competitiveness in your industry in terms of like, oh, well, what is the next leg for me in terms of me building my skill sets? I mean, you even talked about you early on, going from job to job because you were really looking to, experience all the facets of the business and the trade. And that really helped you as a business owner, right? To be able to bring all of those skills to your team and to your clients. But when you think about ways of growing and you think about the next 4 or 5 years, tell us what is on the horizon for Rain City Electric.
Well, I'm always trying to stay ahead. I think the key to have an edge is information and just knowing about the industry. So, I subscribe to a lot of channels on YouTube, magazines, stuff like that. Just trying to get ahead, like the EV chargers and the smart cars and solar and stuff like that is going to be a real huge wave very soon. And so just trying to stay ahead of the technology, or not stay ahead, but, keep up with it, and a lot of guys are set in their ways, they just want to, wire lights and bend pipe and stuff like that. But there's so many different genres in this field, and I think to be the most successful, it's not. I think you need to find a niche, right? But you also have to understand the industry.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for being so intentional of being abreast of all of the different waves that are coming through. And it's so important for us, especially now. There's so many things that are coming through for all of us. There's new technology and there's new trends and there's all these things that we have to keep track of and really stay on top of. So great to hear that you're doing that. Lastly, I got to ask you about staying connected to community. I know oftentimes there are so many opportunities to share your story with other young folks who are like, man, is the trades an option for me? Maybe they don't see the 4-year college route and they want to learn a little bit more. Do you find that that's also important to you in terms of sharing what you've built so that others who may see themselves in you can also see this as a pathway for them?
Can you say the question again?
Yeah. How important is it for you to stay connected to the next generation of folks who may be asking themselves, is the trades for them? Is this a pathway for me? Right. I think me in my community perspective, I'm always thinking, well, you were just like them. You just said it. You were at SVI, you were just, kind of on the streets, and then you had these opportunities, but you took advantage of the opportunities, right? I think a lot of folks sometimes let opportunities go by them like, oh, I don't need to take advantage of that right now. Like it'll come later. And then you never know what later brings, right? So I just wonder how you envision yourself being able to share your story and share your journey so that others can really see themselves in it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I didn't expect to take this path. It was something that I had to choose because I really couldn't do anything else. I had a record at the time, and I felt like this was the best direction to go. When I had the opportunity to pick a trade, I wanted to, I wanted to make the most money. So I picked a trade that I felt, for one, I didn't want to, swing hammers or chase, piss down a toilet, for a lack of a better term. But, I wanted to be clean and I thought that was just the best thing for me to do at that time. I feel like, learning a skill is really important. Me pushing a skill on somebody, I don't really try to do that. Like it's just, I think everyone should follow their own path. I do feel like the trades are important, and it's, from what I understand, the original 4-year degree. It's something that there's a difference between a trade like this and maybe something more specialized. Like I can take what I do anywhere in the world. I can take it to Africa. I can take it to Miami, and I can get paid roughly the same amount and make the same amount of money as I can here. So I just seen all the variables and all the positives in making the decision to do this, and so I would say to a young person not really knowing what they want to do, because there is a time after high school where kids are just kind of like confused, like, and they don't know what they want to do. And I would say, if you were to get into the trades, I would look into each one of them and then find things that that are relative to you, you know, and then go from there.
That's a great word of advice from somebody who has done it himself. Of course, I got to give you time. Look right there in the camera. Folks are looking for a solid electrician. If they are trying to connect with you in Rain City Electric, let them know right there how they do that.
You can find me at www.raincityelectricwa.com. That's REIGNCITY electricwa.com.
Right on. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great to have you.
Thanks.
Y'all, I get to wrap up all of this inspiration right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Will you marry me, baby?
Yeah.
Let me put this on you.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Trae Holiday. We're bringing back Black Love When We Met. That's right. We need something to warm all of our hearts and to elevate love once again in our communities. We want y'all to go to whereweconverge.com/Black Love so y'all can nominate your favorite couple for the next rendition of this show with me as the host. Let me sit down and have them on my couch and share how their love can inspire us all. Make sure y'all go and get your nominations in today and be on the lookout for Black Love When We Met coming at you on Converge Media very soon.
Pacific Northwest Ballet unveils Giselle, ballet's classic tale of romance, betrayal, and immortal love. The New York Times calls it a triumph, comparable to an epic film. This stunning production is touched by magic. Order tickets now at pnb.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. What an inspiring Friday. When we talk about, folks seeing themselves as a part of the solution, clearly Eugene has done just that and saw that the trades and him becoming an electrician was a way for him to make a living and do it well for himself. As he said, he can take this trade anywhere all over the world and do well for himself. And for me, we have talked to folks in the trades. We understand. I love how he said it was the original 4-year degree. Be inspired, y'all. Of course, I am by his story, but also by his commitment to learning the trends of the trade, learning how to keep his company afloat, and also really build up a solid team of electricians and folks like himself who take this role, going into people's homes, providing this service very seriously. And as a customer of his, as somebody who has actually experienced that level of care, I'm telling you, Rain City Electric is a great opportunity for y'all. If you need some rewiring done, if you're building a new house, if you need some type of electrician services, check out Rain City Electric. And of course, y'all, be inspired to see yourself as a part of the solution as Eugene has done. And that's it for me this week, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Of course, for me, until Monday at 11 a.m., y'all. Peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.